E aí pessoas, estamos aqui de volta mais uma vez, agora com um jogo novo, né? Vamos fazer uma série aí com o Vampyr, que é um jogo aí de ação e aventura. E não se esqueça de deixar o like aí no vídeo e de compartilhar nas suas redes sociais aí para ajudar o canal a crescer. Então partiu, vamos para o vídeo.
Oi, you listening? Get them weapons ready. We found
Tô pegando fogo, bicho. Estamina, carrega.
It's on him! It's on him! Fuck! He's dead! You leeches didn't kill him!
Sai. Tem mais coisa? Então vamos.
It's locked.
It's an inch! Get God!
Ah, cadê a estamina?
Oh my God! It's too strong! It's mine! I'll take it! Shit, that leech is fast!
Não dá pra subir ali não? A porta tá aberta. Não era pra esse lado.
Steady, boys!
carrega.
Safer places to be than here.
Chegando onde tem que chegar. Merda, tem um monte de caçador ali na frente.
More and more of these bloody leeches every night. Aye? Mine! I'll take it.
Ai, caraca, tô sem sangue nenhum. Usei o restinho do sangue que eu tinha pra fazer isso.
It's one of them!
Ah!
We have to stop it!
A estamina carrega. Ui! Tem mais um? Não, acho que é o mesmo. É, não tinha matado aquele. Caraca! Esse cara não morre não. Falta só aquele lá. Era um fim, era mais um fim. Tem uma armadura. Droga. Ai, caraca. Sangue.
More and more of these bloody leeches every night. Aye? The gods prove more and more.
Não, caraca. Ah, tá tirando outro cara. Pra onde eu tô olhando, vem pra cá.
Whitechapel. This neighborhood is linked somehow to the kind Lady Ashbury's blackmail. First, let's find this Petrescu fellow.
Tem que encontrar esse cara pra conversar.
Fuck you all! Fuck you all! Stop it now, Albert! Stop it! Me, I'll not die in some piss stinking alley worse than a week old puppy.
Are you all right?
The bastard hit the wall next to me. I don't even know if he meant to miss.
If you've been hurt, I can help you. I'm a doctor.
Name's Albert. Remember it. Now bugger off.
I found the recruiter you were expecting. He's dead, but he carried a note. The Wet Boot Boys have accepted your application.
I knew it! I told you I was tough enough. I'll be free soon.
You're being manipulated by these criminals. What's worse is that you're clever enough to know better.
You're all fancy words, none of which concern me. Go worry about someone else. I'm fine and I've a future here.
Goodbye, young man.
I won't end up another drunk arsehole littering the streets. Not me.
What? Shooting a boy in the middle of the street. Not the best thing to do, wouldn't you say?
What? You saw what happened? Who are you?
I'm Dr. Reed, and I'd like to ask you a few questions, if you promise me to set your gun aside.
No. Look, I'm not a violent man. I'm Benjamin Palmer, doctor. And no one can help me. Not even you.
Do you know Nurse Dorothy Crane from the Pembroke Hospital? Have you heard anything?
It's funny, I've been searching for her too. I need some pills. But the woman is a phantom, if you ask me.
Really? And why is that?
Word is she ain't real. She's a cover for some doctor who runs an illegal dispensary for migrants.
Whatever the boy did, I'm sure he didn't deserve a public execution.
I swear I didn't want to hit him. It's just that I'm sick in the head, you see, and the boy just frayed me last nerve.
A gun, alcohol, and a bad temper make a terrible cocktail, sir. Goodbye for now.
I won't end up another drunk arsehole littering the streets. Not me.
Mais pra frente.
Good evening, miss.
Good evening, sir. Are you interested in a miraculous cure for this unknown and deadly epidemic?
Actually, I am.
Then you have come to the right place. The famous Swanborough cordial is all you need to help keep you in perfect health.
Oh, really? Why didn't I hear about it during my studies? I'm Jonathan Reed, by the way. Dr. Jonathan Reed.
Ah, my brother has spoken of your research, sir. I'm Loretta Swanborough, and it's always a pleasure to meet a fellow healer.
I'd like to see what kind of medicine you're selling.
Its effectiveness has been proven by many. Even the flu is no match.
What do you want? Leave me alone.
Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Reed. I'm looking for Nurse Dorothy Crane.
There is no Dorothy Crane here. Now goodbye.
I'm afraid this medical leaflet says the opposite, sir.
Really? Well, I'm afraid I'm going to close this door right now. Go bother someone else, Mr. Doctor.
To enter that house, I must discover who this man really is. Maybe I could start by observing what he's up to. I must insist, sir. Please let me see Nurse Crane.
I have no time for you, sir.
Sabe que eu vou entrar aí, né?
It's locked, all right.
O cara que eu vou falar tá ali. Eu vou entrar aqui.
A strange man was at the door with a pass for our medical facility. I refused him entry.
Darius, how could you know he didn't need our help?
His clothes were too finely tailored to be for Whitechapel.
Perhaps just a friend of that stray poet who is always about.
Richard Nithercott? No, not of the same cloth, this man. I suspect some machination from that journalist.
Clayton Darby. Is he still asking questions?
Yes. I saw him drifting around St. Mary's Church. I swear he is tracking me just downwind.
I must talk to that journalist or the poet. They must know about Darius. Nearby the church they just mentioned.
Tá, pra que lado? Do meu lado de cá. Pra cá?
Come on, take a look. Don't be afraid. Welcome, sir. Please, take a browse of my wares.
I am Dr. Reed. I would like to ask you a few questions, if you don't mind.
Doctor? Interesting. I'm Barrett Lewis. Usually I don't have time to waste with talk, but at this hour of the night I can hardly refuse.
Have you heard of a nurse called Dorothy Crane?
Nurse Crane. So the bitch really is a nurse, then? Always thought she was just some crafty foreigner, that one.
Yes, she's a nurse, and quite a good one. What did she do to gain such notoriety?
Dorothy Crane ain't even a real name. Something like Dorothea Craniu. Something like that. Came to England fleeing the war, I was told.
That doesn't explain why she irritates you so much.
Your precious Nurse Crane gives away medical supplies and prescriptions for free. I offered to sell it for a fair cut, but no. Miss Crane wanted to play the quiet saint.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Lewis.
I should never have...
Excuse me, sir. I have a few questions for you.
Another journalist? I didn't answer the first one, so piss off!
I'm not a journalist, I'm a doctor.
A doctor, you say? It's quite a rare breed in this part of town.
Really? But still, here I am. Dr. Jonathan Reed. at your service.
I'm Joe Peterson to some, but Colossus Joe to most. And I don't remember asking for your service, sir.
Have you heard of a nurse named Dorothy Crane? She's a colleague of mine, and is supposed to live around here.
Dorothy Crane? Yeah, I know her. One of the few good souls who dare to help the sick around here.
Could you please tell me more about her?
She's a nice girl. Tries to help the migrants. I offered to give her a hand, but she said my reputation would attract too much attention.
Goodbye, Mr. Peterson.
Não dá enfermeira. Acho que eles estão jornalista.
Excuse me, sir. Are you familiar with this part of town? Name's Clayton Darby, reporter.
Sorry, I'm new to Whitechapel. But perhaps you could help me, since you're a journalist. My name is Jonathan Reed.
Dr. Reed, the famous surgeon. I'll gladly help if I'm able, sir.
I heard you're investigating an underground medical dispensary in Whitechapel. What do you know about it?
Not much, I'm afraid. They are wary of strangers, and I'm not really an acquaintance of theirs. Why do you care?
I'm a doctor, Mr. Darby. I care about everything involving public health and this epidemic.
Are you sure you're not just concerned about the repercussions that a scandal involving a certain Nurse Crane from the Pembroke Hospital would bring?
Without a doubt, you are a damn fine journalist, Mr. Darby. What do you know of her accomplice, a man named Darius?
I don't know much about the man. He's very cautious. Never goes out. Doesn't seem to have any friends or family.
He never goes out?
No. A few days ago, he unexpectedly did. I followed him, but it was just a ruse to keep me away from his house.
Really? How do you know?
He went to the nearest mailbox, but just before posting his letter, he ripped it up and threw it away.
He has no relatives at all?
No. Except for that strange man, a poet named Richard Nethercott, who sometimes comes by. Darius would never let him in.
Where can I find this Mr. Nethercott?
He spends most of his time lurking around Whitechapel, talking to himself or declaring verses. These days, you can usually find him behind the church.
Valeu.
Goodbye, Mr. Darby. Farewell.
Esse é o poeta? Não, esse é o padre.
Forgive my interruption.
Do not apologize, my son. Father Tobias Whitaker is always happy to teach mortals about the incoming Armageddon.
I am Dr. Jonathan Reed, and I just have a few questions.
A scientist? You are much more lost than I thought, my son.
Do you know Nurse Dorothy Crane from the Pembroke Hospital? I'd like to know more about her.
I don't like the liberal ideas of nurses, but I especially abhor that Nurse Crane you mentioned.
So, you're not exactly a fan of Florence Nightingale's work. But nurses are essential for modern healthcare.
Nuns should be the only women allowed to take care of male patients. It's obvious only they have the necessary moral fiber.
Why do you hate Nurse Crane more than other nurses?
Before coming to London, she was a member of the communist resistance in our country. That's what happens when you let a woman get involved in politics.
I have heard enough for tonight. Goodbye.
parar por aqui e a gente continua na próxima daqui. Falar com o cara. Então pessoal, isso aí foi o Vampyr. Se você gostou, já deixa o like no canal. Se você não é inscrito, se inscreva. Se você tem alguma ideia, é só deixar no comentário. Então valeu, até o próximo vídeo. Fui, até mais.